without further ado, here's this dude. Yeah, guys, I'm Bradley Nowell. Hello. I seriously am. Did you know that I'm a stand-up comedian and I'm also a mental health advocate and I do some lecturing at colleges all over the country. I've been to 600 different universities. I was on America's Got Talent until they decided my story wasn't sad enough. Brandon, you fucking win. Just go on America's Got Talent, do anything. Blow bubbles. Seriously, you just tell your story and they're like, oh my goodness, because that's what reality TV is. Not reality, too much. We'd be like, that's fake. So, Brandon, I don't know if you know this, I actually spent a lot of time with Bam Margera and Tony Hawk when I was a teenager. It was called Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 on PlayStation 2. Have you ever played that? Okay. You fuck. Come on, how am I supposed to follow? This is ridiculous. Put me up first before you do. I even was like, oh, at least with a bunch of rich people or people that are wearing suits, maybe I'll look the best. And then you show up with that. I hate you so much. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna wear the short socks today because I got these, but I went long socks. And did you get the shoes out the box? Look at how white they are. This isn't okay. Everybody sign Brandon's shoes before you leave. It's the new silent auction. Guys, I'm not even a comedian. I'm just that dude that was pissed off about the sound the whole time. Did you watch me be anxious for 45 minutes? We were like, who the hell's this guy? Get him a comb. Great. This is wonderful. I appreciate you guys. Damn it. This is the half that was only half committed over here. This is the half they knew other people. Oh, you're joining? Yeah, come on. They were about to leave. But she's like, we got caught. I have to sit down. You should have been like, I got a call. That's all. They just say that. Guys, can we give it up for ourselves for looking good? I mean, I have done. No, I mean that because I did a recovery center fundraiser in Idaho. It's just not the same. It's just not, they don't know what suits are. Like, when it's a black tie event, they meant like one. There was just one black tie. They're like, yes, that's the dude with the one tie. Idaho is great. Oh, you are? Give her a round of applause. She made it out. Let's go. Come on, you made it. Who the ho, me the ho. Anyway. Point. I got my spotlights here. I have to stand at the very edge right here. Brandon, you speak in such a great way that I don't, like, I want to know what you're going to say next, but I also have no freaking clue when your sentence is going to be done, because you're like you're like great TV shows, just cliffhanger after cliffhanger. And it was exciting. I didn't know. I was like, I think he's wrapping up. And I was like, I have no idea when this is going on. Because, like, I haven't lived a life full of shit, you know? Like, I haven't, like, my parents are still together after 37 years, and I grew up in the Midwest with one sister, 2 dogs, and went to a state school. Like, I'm Mr. Average. I'm a 5'9", straight-haired, white, cisgender male. Like, everything about me is non-diverse, right? Which, by the way, the whitest thing you can complain about is about not having diversity, so I am aware of that. I performed at the Jewish Humor Festival 2 years in a row. I'm not Jewish, but I felt I felt a part of something for once. I don't even know why I brought this, because nothing's happened to me in my life. Like, I've been going through a breakup, but like, okay, it wasn't with reality, or like, you're like another cunt. Anyway, I'm not feeling self-conscious at all about anything. This is why I'm going to do a show in Wisconsin tomorrow, so I can be the best dressed. Now, oh, Wisconsin is so great. Guys, this is not the weirdest show I've ever done. It's not the weirdest venue. The weirdest thing I did is, I did a show for nuns. You guys ever? Yeah, that's why it's cool with you guys. I'm like, oh, we swore and we can talk realistically because it's like a recovery center, right? Or people that know about realistic things. Have you guys ever done comedy for nuns? It's really fun. I'm like, you know the worst thing about dating? And they're like, no. I was like, shit, I can't talk about like relationships or marriage. And then one of the sisters, no joke, goes, I'm married to Jesus. I was like, that's a little bit different. And she's like, how? And I'm like, Jesus doesn't cut you with his weird toenails in the middle of the night. You know what I mean? Jesus doesn't put the empty almond milk carton back in the fridge when it's done, you know? And when I'm in other places, I just have to say regular milk. But this is California, I can say almond milk. And I'm tired of people being like, how do you milk an almond less awkwardly than milking another living mammal? And yes, I said mammal weird. That's not the point of the joke. It just came out awkward because I'm not used to a tie because I'm a comedian. It's just like, no, it doesn't have feelings or family. It's an almond. Like, it's weird to be like, I'm so sorry we have to keep you pregnant. Anyway, I definitely ate the vegan food and the cheesecake. Shut up. I'm a confliction. which doesn't make sense grammatically, therefore it is a confliction. Now, what I was going to say is, by the way, I got yelled at for calling them nuns. They were called sisters. Did you guys know that there's a difference? This was over the summer when I did this gig. Do you guys know there's a difference between sisters and nuns? Okay, so this is what they told me. I said, what's the difference? I go, sisters can leave the convent and can own some things, but nuns cannot leave the convent, they can't own anything. And when they said that, I'm like, oh, is that why they call them nuns? They're not called sums, you know, or like little bits or mosts. Point is, that joke is terrible, but they didn't laugh at that, and I'm like, that's the cleanest I'm gonna be. Do you understand? Like, if they don't laugh at that, where do I go from here? So I was like, and I think I can talk about almost anything here. You guys seem like a realistic group, but with them, I was like, what can I joke about, right? I was like, can I joke about horniness? And one of the sisters was like, do you mean like horny? And I was like, no, not like the devil. Not like sexual horniness. And she goes, no. And I go, well, all life exists because of horniness, which is true. Like, I feel like we forget that we're all direct descendants of boners. Like, do you guys remember? Like, at one point there was a boner, time passed, Brandon. Like, that's how we all... You know what's funny? When I tell that joke, I actually say Brandon and I pick a random dude in the audience. You are a Brandon, so that's great. I did that in my last show. I just told a dude his name's Brandon the whole time. But we all exist because of that. So I was like, all life exists because of horniness. I didn't bring up the boner part. And I was like, hold on a second, sis, right? Horniness is the reason for all life. And then she goes, I said sis because I'm trying to like get to know her. I was like, substance. Anyway. I'm like, all life exists because of horniness. And then she goes, all except for one life. I was like, Jesus Christ, you just played the Jesus card on me. And I was so upset about it, but then she goes, I'm like, did you just play the Jesus card on me? And she goes, what you gonna do about it, my child? And I was like, okay, gangsta, nothing. I don't know how to fight you in this. I wish she had a microphone so she could just be like, mic drop, none out, and then just hoverboard away. Because I feel that nuns should travel on hoverboards. You know what I'm talking about? Wouldn't that be the holiest way to travel? Just roll up on you, like, what are you thinking about? Like, because their nun drapes hang low enough. What are they called? They're not drapes. What are they? Blinds, curtains? What are they? Habits, thank you. Oh, Sister Act 2, back in the habit. I just understood that. That's not a joke. Shut up. Whatever. That's an old movie. I love it. No, I guess this is my Sister Act. Shut up. Anyway, here's the point. It was really fun doing the show for them. And you guys are going to get everything I say. You know, the whole point of what I'm doing and when I perform is I want people to understand. I want us to all relate. I want to show that we have more samesies than differences, you know? And I understood that somebody over there either got excited or upset that I said samesies. Here's the point. She nodded her head. She's like, I don't want to listen to you anymore after that. Similarities than differences. It's important to be aware, okay? It's important to be aware of what's happening, what we're feeling, what we're thinking. And the reason why the nun show is so fun because I started using innuendo and watching as they pretended to not get my jokes. Because they have dirty minds. You guys have dirty minds too. You don't mean to, but you just do. Like, you don't? Really? Your woolly willy beard is misleading me completely. We have to turn it around to Bob Ross if we want to make it so that I think you don't think bad thoughts. Only happy thoughts, all the happy trees. By the way, do you just mean weed? Anyway, California, that should be an advertisement. Now, it's so funny in California. Once the weed companies can get even bigger or can get investments from like the stock exchange, the advertisements will get like more universal, but everybody right now is just weird. It's amazing. Because the companies are so small, they have their own advertising plan. Sorry. This is stuff I can't say other places. Anyway, point being, I would talk about I would use a lot of innuendo. And it's important to know when you're saying dirty things. Do you guys have any friends that don't realize they're saying dirty stuff? Or any family members? So like when the dessert gets put down, they're like, oh my God, I need you in my mouth. Get this inside me right now. I've been waiting to stuff myself full all day. Do you have any friends like that? Or family? You're like, I'm gonna regret this in the morning. Fill me up, you know? Like that's... It's good to know when you're saying dirty things, right? Well, it's very good to know that, and I'll explain why. I didn't go to a Catholic school, but my best friend did. Did anybody go to a Catholic school growing up? Everybody did? Yeah? Yeah? That explains a lot? Cool. Usually there'd be more of us. I'm just saying, restrictions lead to me doing things. Anyway, the point being is that they had sisters at the dances. Had anybody ever had that? Like a chaperone that was like super conservative or super religious? What was that weird thing they would say to you when you danced too close growing up? Leave room for Jesus, which is weird because I know for a fact Jesus doesn't want to grind with two 15-year-olds. You know what I mean? Jesus isn't like, oh shit, this is my jam, my humps, my lovely savior lumps. Like that's not the Holy Trinity that he's a part of, right? I also heard somebody say, leave room for the Holy Spirit. I also heard somebody say, a sister used to put a Bible between them and tell them to be Bible distance apart. And to which my smart ass goes, well, which way was it oriented? Like hot dog, hamburger, or like quesadilla? You know, like, because there's a difference. And if it was like a Jewish Bible, it'd be like smaller, so that's better because one testament is smaller than two. But the point being, somehow the Book of Mormon is even smaller, but we'll figure that out later. Point of all of this is there was this one sister. I don't remember her name. It was like Sister Mary or Sister Margaret or Sister Mary Margaret or Sister Margaret Mary Catherine or Sister Catherine Mary Margaret. Whatever, Sister MK we'll call her. And she, when we were dancing too close, she wouldn't say leave room for Jesus, she wouldn't say leave room for the Holy Spirit. Okay, can I tell you what she actually said? Because a lot of people think I'm saying something dirty and I'm repeating what a sister said over and over again to teenagers. Are you guys ready? Slight nods, thanks for making me feel like I'm a real person. So if you guys were dancing too close to each other, she would be like, hey, the Holy Spirit needs 7 inches. Over and over again. One time we looked against the room, across the room, I was like, what's the Holy Spirit need? She's like, 7 inches, you already know it, mister. I was like, my bad. Because I'm 15, and I walked up to her, I was like, hey, does the Holy Spirit really need 7 inches? Without skipping a beat, she's like, actually, the Holy Spirit would like a full foot. But it'll settle on 7 inches. And I was like, don't we all, sister? Don't we all? The point of that joke is that it's not dirty, okay? Because I said all innuendo. Did you realize that? None of the words I said were dirty. That was TV clean. Do you get that? Like, you know, if there were, let's say if there was like an 8-year-old kid sitting right there, would they have understood that joke? No, they would have been like, what's the difference between 7 inches and 12 inches, right? And in your mind, you'd be like a hospital visit, but you wouldn't say it. And you just... What are you guys laughing at? What were you laughing at? She's like, I'm not giving you this laugh. I'm not going to let you have that. That's fine. The reason why I'm happy to be here and happy to be doing this is because I've been touring for about 8-9 years, and you know, there's one thing I see, and I perform at a lot of colleges. I perform at a lot of universities, which means that the number one audience that I'm in front of is 18 to 24-year-olds. And the reason why I bring that up is because they're the people that are dealing with things more than ever. You know what's not gone away with time? Life being hard. Okay? And what I've noticed is that as technology has increased, so have the rates of suicide, so have rates of addiction, so have rates of other things that we do to be okay. So it's really cool that you guys have a facility and an area and a place where we're trying to help people that are in a certain industry. I really appreciate that, because what it's saying is that it doesn't matter how many likes you have, how famous you are, or how popular you are, you can still have these internal struggles. But now, more than ever, doesn't it seem like what all kids strive for is to have as many followers as possible? You know, we idolize. People would rather be, no offense, a jackass on film. Not just you, but in what I'm saying, because I loved actually Jackass growing up. I loved watching it and then thinking about this being like me and my friends and seeing it. But I mean, just people that live stream their entire lives, and they'd rather be and say or do whatever, make up whatever lie to get the attention than to work an honorable job, because that's not seen as good. So you know what I realize is that the biggest issue that we have is that we've always had issues being okay, but now we have these things called anxiety boxes. So when I tour, I try to talk about how these things control us. You know, they're designed specifically to make us feel like we're inferior. And not that I'm, you know, it's very interesting. I didn't come to these realizations until a little bit later, but we live in a capitalist society where it's consume, sell, and market. And we used to market things, but now we're marketing people just as much as the things. Now, the music industry or the TV industry or the skateboard industry, we've always learned that people are products, which is what the problem was. You thought that you were different because when you were skateboarding, when you were on Jackass and all these other things, you were like, they need me, and then you realized later that they were using you as a bit of a product. Now, it was because of your talent and skill, but they were still using you that way. Now, people's Instagram accounts are being used that way. Our individual social networks are being used as marketing, and we believe that that's what's important. So, I'm going to get back to being funny, but the thing that I bring around with me is I talk about my own depression and anxiety. I'm lucky to not have, I've never had a suicidal thought, and I'm lucky to not be someone that deals with addiction. But I recognize that that's due to luck. I've dealt with severe depression and anxiety, okay? And what I've learned from all of this is that when we talk, it's when we most feel comfortable and connected to other individuals. The reason why people love music so much is because it speaks to us in a way that we don't feel that we can communicate ourselves. So what I'll give you guys at the end of this is my campaign, and it's these wristbands that say it anyway, and I use the mantra say it anyway because not only is life too short to leave things unsaid, but also the more we talk about things, the more we normalize them, the more we recognize that we're not alone in what we're dealing with. You know, I came to this weird realization that right now we're kind of run by narcissists. I won't name names, but I would just say, not just the country, but even the fact that the best way to be a CEO is to have a narcissistic personality disorder. Okay, that is what we reward in this country, and because of capitalism, and I'm not saying all of it's bad, but I'm saying we need to recognize that. So anybody out there, if you encounter anybody that gets down on themselves, that hates themselves, that doubts themselves, that's their own hardest critic, they're the good people, because what that means is that you care. And what matters is that, you know, my great example that I use is 2 days after the September 11th attacks, 9/11, a certain individual on a radio show said, "Now I have the tallest tower in New York." That's a real quote. I didn't make that up. Is that somebody who can ever possess empathy for another human being, or is that somebody that only understands the world as it relates to them? Now, it's very good for survival. They'll never kill himself. But it's not very good for the greater good. So if anybody in here deals with anxiety or deals with any sort of issue, recognize that makes you very human, and the fact that you might be a little bit ashamed about it or you want to be deserving of your love makes you an even better human. So if you can do anything, please pass along the message for other people to say it anyway, to go seek help, to go talk to each other. Yeah, ghost, I wish that's what it was. It was the ghost of, they don't allow me to play with the soundboard up there. But if you want to, I have a bunch of these, and I'll give them out over there. And on the inside, there's a little note that says you're not alone. So if you know anybody that needs any of these, I've given out about like 50,000 of these to college students around. But I'm going to be funny now. You guys okay with me?
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you for speaking out loud. There's a couple things I've learned. So my jokes in comedy comes from the fact that I want to joke about the real similarities, but also the real differences. Like, ladies, you have some amazing superpowers that I'm jealous of. One thing is called the Jedi mind trick of apology. Guys, have you ever had this thing happen where a girl does something wrong, and then she apologizes to you about it, and then you feel like you owe them an apology? Does this happen to anyone? Raise your hand if this has happened to you, if you follow along. Great. All right, I'm going to go with my friend right there. Seth, right? Yeah, you said your name before, so I remembered it. All right, Seth. This is what it's like. Okay. It's called the Jedi mind trick of apology, and guys, this is what we should learn to do, but we can't. Ladies, you're so good at it. I'm very proud. Seth, I'm going to be your girlfriend in this scenario. Is this okay? Are you willing to answer a couple questions?
I'm sorry.
Oh. He already knew what to do. Seth, are you in a long-term relationship right now? No, the whole joke was I was going to be like, I screwed up at something, right? And this is how women apologize, and I love it. They'd be like, I'm sorry that my emotions are such an inconvenience for you. Like, I'm sorry that I actually care about this relationship. I'm sorry that I give it 110%. Yeah, sometimes that means I go over the top, but that's just called love, okay? I'm sorry that I love you. And then I'd be like, what do you have to say for yourself? Well, there you go, Seth. Good job. I'm sorry that my emotions are such an inconvenience for you. It's so amazing. It's so powerful. And Seth, one thing I don't like to do is perpetuate stereotypes. So I'm like, let me try this joke with a female audience member. Seth cut it off, right? And by the way, the only other guys that don't apologize are the men who just get in a fight. That's what they do. They're fine. I don't care. whatever. And I'm like, you what? One time I did this thing, I was like, I'm sorry that my emotions are such an inconvenience for you. And the guy was like, I'm sorry, I'll take you to Olive Garden. And I was like, hold up. Ladies, you fuck up and then get free food out of it? This is a scam y'all are running. And I want in on it. So I tried this with a female audience member. I'm like, let me be inclusive, let me try this. It should work, right? Right, Willy, it should work. So I do the same joke. It's beard envy, that's why I do it, because I can't grow the full thing. I do the same joke with a female audience member. I do that, I'm sorry that my emotions are such an inconvenience for you. Like, I'm sorry that I actually care about this relationship. I'm sorry that I love you. What do you have to say for yourself? And then the girl goes, thank you. And I was like, what? She's like, thank you for your apology. And I was like, damn it, okay. And I was like, can't you see that I'm upset? Because I'm trying to get her. Right? I'm like, can't you see that I'm upset? And then she goes, are you accusing me of not being able to tell that you're upset right now? And I was like, no, I'm sorry. And I was like, shit, she got me to apologize. Sacred Heart University in Connecticut, that's where this happened. She got me to apologize in my own joke about how women get men to apologize. There's just some natural differences, okay? There are some natural differences. Like, let's just do a little survey. Ladies, clap it up if you've ever tried to drop a hint for a guy before. Has anyone ever tried to drop a hint? Cool. Some golf claps. Usually there's some anger claps, like Dylan. One time at a show, I was like, clap it up if you ever tried to drop a hint for a guy, and these girls were clapping, and this one girl's like, you know what? I was like, what? She's like, I'm gonna tell him his ass right now. I was like, you do it. She's like, I'm gonna text him. I was like, you go, girl. And then later in the show, I'm like, what'd you text him? And she's like, don't worry about it. I was like, but you seem so excited. What'd you text him? She's like, don't worry about it. And I asked the friend next to her, I was like, what'd she text him? And she's like, she texted him, hey. After all, you know what? I'm gonna tell his ass right now. And the girls are like, you tell his ass. She's like, I'm gonna tell him right now. He's gonna hit you. Hey. It's not, the thing about it is, all right, let's just do the second part of the survey. Ladies, clap it up if those hints that you dropped worked. That is the national average, 0. Harambe got more votes for president than hints have worked on dudes. Why is that? Why don't hints work on dudes? We're not paying attention. It's so nice of you to say. Most people say because we're idiots or because we're stupid, right? She was like, because we're stupid. It's not because we're stupid, it's because we're born stupid and there's a difference, all right? You keep acting like we are actively trying to be this. We are on the right track, baby. We are born this way. He literally got famous for being a jackass. Do you understand? Risk equals reward in our brains. Do you get it now? This is what I've learned, and it's not just that we're stupid, it's that, ladies, you have superpowers. One of them is the ability to speak telepathically with one another, so you think that we know what you're thinking, but you've never actually dropped a hint in your life. You just looked at us thinking we knew exactly what's going on in your brain, but we have no clue. My God, I've never sat between two girls, and they don't say anything, but they just look at each other. One starts laughing, the other one's laughing so hard she's crying, you have no clue what the hell just happened. You're not sure? Watch this. I don't know if you two know each other, just look towards each other. Something was said. I want you two to look towards each other, red and blonde. Okay, they're like, why is he making us do this? This is awkward. Okay, cool. Can we even have one over here? Does any of the ladies want? You're just like, I'm not going to turn around for shit. I don't know what you're up to. I don't know what you're going to do when I turn around. That's the best. Just turn to your friend and just see what happens. See if you laugh back there. Good, you have to laugh. Now when I have two guys do it, like these two guys, just turn towards each other. He just politely smiled. Because are you married, sir? Yes. Okay, because he learned to take direction. But usually that's what happens. There was no reciprocation from the guys. They're like, let's do the thing. We did the thing. Last time I had two guys just look at each other, the other one was like, what? The other one was like, I don't know. Like, they forgot why they were looking at each other and almost got in a fight just because they were staring. So we don't pick up on hints. I think some of it's our fault. I don't think it's all our fault because I do pay attention. I pay attention a lot. There's just some things I don't notice. And I think I'm biologically predisposed to not notice as much. Like if I knew how many times I've made a girl feel just uncomfortable by my presence being in the world, I would never go anywhere. Ever. Okay? I mean, I know it's a scary time for men right now, right? Like, we don't know if we're gonna get the highest court in the land. We have to wait a week, you know? Like, it's a tough time. We still get what we want. It's a tough time for men. Point being, that was a Brett Kavanaugh's a garbage person. Anyway, no. Joke. This is a scary time. We still get what we want, but we have to wait a week. Anyway, my point is that I do think that something that's very difficult is men don't pick up on hints as well. I also don't think men look out for each other as well. Women, you're kind of supportive of each other, right? Especially if somebody hurts your friend in terms of a relationship. Like, you might not stand up for yourself, but if someone fucks with Kayla, they're going down. You know what I mean? Because you're supportive of it. What's your name right here? What's your name? Yeah. Ashley. So, that's right, Ashley. So if Ashley's kicking the crap out of me in the parking lot, right? During the day, I bet you like 3 girls that aren't even from here would just join in and be like, what'd he do, girl? What'd he do? That's support. She'd be like, he's texting another woman. I could be like, this is my mother. And they'd be like, shut up, Ashley's feelings are valid. Like, you support each other. Guys only support each other when another guy's gonna do something stupid, right? That's all I've noticed. Like, yo, bro, I'm gonna jump my car off a cliff. My friends would be like, wait, let me get my camera, right? Like, let me get my camera first. Or in the case of Brandon, he'd be like, wait, let me go with you. Like, you know, it's good. Guys are not supportive in a good way. We need to be better at that. But ladies, I am more afraid of you in terms of danger. Like, I know men are more dangerous, but I feel like ladies can get away with murder, and that scares me more. Because one, if you two wanted to like murder me after the show, you wouldn't even have to talk about it. You could just look and decide that that's what was going to happen. Plus, you probably get away with it. Plus, everyone's supportive. And even if you got caught, right? Even if you got caught, I feel like the jury would come back and be like, we, the jury, find the victim guilty. You totally deserved it. You go, girl. You're free to go, girl. You know, that's the hard thing about this is because, and I'm really glad that there's a facility like there is, because I was joking when I was saying it's a hard time for men. It's a hard time for all people. And that was a complete joke when I did that. But there is this thing where it's harder. You know, men aren't told to show weakness. Men aren't told to say that there's something wrong or they need help with anything. Like, here's what happened. So, here's why I did the original joke about you kicking the crap out of me. Because if you heard on the news, like a husband beat up his wife in a suburb of San Francisco, you'd be like, that's a tragedy. Domestic violence is no joke. But I'll tell you what happened one time. I'm sitting in Chicago with my friend Amanda, and the news goes, in a suburb of Chicago, a wife knocked her husband out with a shovel. And without skipping a beat, Amanda goes, good for her. We don't know why. And she's like, what'd he do though? And like, that's the fun part. You're like, but he messed up, right? Like I call it the Elsa effect. Does anyone know Elsa from Frozen? Does anyone know the movie Frozen? Does anyone have any children in here? Who's got young children? Anybody got young children? Have you been adversely affected by Frozen when you've had to listen to it 9 million times? Yeah, and then you look at your kids and tell them to let it go, but they won't. And they don't even get the reference, they just start singing it. So if you don't know the movie, Elsa is a monster person who's got an ice cannon for a hand, who shoots her sister in the face, and then in the heart and tries to murder her. And then all of a sudden, she blasts everyone in the kingdom. She shoots the crops, the people, the ships, the water, the palace. They're freezing to death, they're starving to death, the crops are gone, they can't send for help. And they're like, yo, we're dying, we're starving, we're freezing. And she's like, let it go, can't hold it back anymore. And everyone's like, you go, Elsa, your emotions are real. I want you to let it go, I want you to say it anyway, unless it means everyone in the kingdom dies. Then keep it in, tell your therapist on Friday. That's the Elsa song. I like that. Do you trust me now? You behind said, no, we're going to murder you after this. And it'd be fine. It would be fine. Everyone would be like, what'd he do though? Like, what'd he do? He did something. Yeah, if at least I want to be murdered because I said something fun, you know? Point is, I'm going to do a couple more jokes and then get out of here. I have these wristbands up at the front, and I have a shirt that I'm going to be selling for, the proceeds will go to you guys. So, I don't know, just give yourself money or whatever, but they're $25, and I'll explain the shirt in a second. But I need to talk about this concept, and it's a thing that confuses me and it confuses a lot of men. It's the phrase, it's fine, I'm fine. Now, is there a female volunteer that wants to raise their hand and help me understand what that phrase is? Is there just a female volunteer that wants, that's voluntelling. You are voluntelling someone. Just everyone raise their hand, it'll be fun. Yes, what's your name, friend? Elena. All right, on the count of 3, we're going to say hi to Elena like it's 3rd grade. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Hi. Hell yeah, your table didn't say shit. Anyway, Elena. Willie's like, I don't have to. No, Elena, I need your help with this. If I come up to you and I go, are you okay? And then you go, it's fine, I'm fine. What does that mean?
Leave me alone.
Leave you alone, great. Elena was already nicer than the last person I did this joke with. Because when I did this joke before, I picked a girl in the audience. I said, what does it mean when you say, it's fine, I'm fine? She goes, well, what'd you do? And I was like, this is a hypothetical situation. She's like, you're a guy, you hypothetically did something. I was like, oh shit. Because I like that you nodded your head. You're like, yep, you totally did something. Here's what I'll admit. 80% of the time that you're mad at us, we did something wrong. But I feel like 20% of the time, you're mad, you don't know why, and we're in the room. Is that a thing? Ashley's like, yeah, and we just have this dumbass face. You're like, I'm pissed. Why? Him. He did something. I've definitely done it where like I don't think I did anything wrong, but like, okay, so ladies, you have this other issue, this other thing that I don't deal with as much. I think your body's just telling you to hate yourself sometimes for no reason. So like a girl I was dating, for some reason, she's the most attractive girl ever, but her mind would just be like, you're fat today, you're fat today. So I'd come home, I'd be like, looking good, honey, and she'd be like, do I? And like slam the door, and I'm like, what did I do? Now I've been murdered, Ashley joins in, she's like, let's go. So Elena, when you say it's fine, I'm fine, it means leave you alone, or it's not fine, right? Okay, great. So words mean nothing. Now, here's the point. As you say, men don't pick up on hints as you use the opposite day every day. Now, let me ask you this. I want everyone to raise their hand if they use the phrase, it's fine, I'm fine. Okay, when you say it's fine, I'm fine, raise your hand if you would like me to ask again about what might be wrong to show that I genuinely care. Okay, cool, hands down. Now, raise your hand if you'd be annoyed with me if I kept bugging you with questions after you say it's fine, I'm fine. Cool. If you noticed, a lot of people didn't vote, just like in 2016, so thanks for ruining the world. And Idaho. Anyway. Some of the people that voted twice. So this is what I've learned. Okay, this is what you're supposed to do. And I think some of the guys know it because the guys are not, you live a little bit of life, you've been married for so long, you kind of understand. So when a woman says it's fine, I'm fine, you should ask them more questions, but don't bug them with questions. And then give them space, but don't leave, and then hug them, but don't touch them. Is that correct? Clap if that's correct. Is that exactly? That's not possible! You're clapping for something impossible! Do you want another correct answer? It's give them food. The correct answer is give them food. Retreat to a 5-foot distance. Because 6 feet is too emotionally distant, but 4 feet you're in the splash zone. So give them the 4 foot. Here's the thing I want to show you is I have this shirt. Now, it's not just because of that joke that I have this shirt that says, it's fine, I'm fine. And I have all the sizes from extra small to 3XL. And on the back it says, clearly it's not fine. So this is my shirt. And it's universal. It's not just for mental health. It's not just for how we're feeling about our daily activities. But it's also a reminder that when you say this bullshit, remember it. So when you're going through something, like you say, oh no, I can handle this. It's fine. I'm fine. Remember that you're calling yourself out on it. But the thing is, it is fine. The hard part about all of this is that when we want to admit that we did something wrong, or admit that we need help, or admit that we were wrong, studies show that it physically hurts to be wrong. So Republicans must be in pain all the time. Anyway, my point being, he's just so family-oriented, right? That's why he has 4 families. Anyway, point being, I just want him to get another wife on Office and like another one, DJ Khaled style, because I want a second, third, and fourth First Lady, because I want hashtag the Real White House Wives of DC on the Bravo Network. I want that show. The point that I was trying to say is that it is fine to say it's fine, I'm fine, but it's also not fine. Everything has to be fine. Every single moment is a new starting point. And the hard thing to remember is that the past doesn't exist other than in our mind, and the only thing that we have is the present moment and going forward. It's that we relive the past, and that's the only way in which it's real. So I want everybody to remember that it is fine. You are fine. But it's also fine to be a regular human and ask for help. So if you guys want to purchase one of these shirts, I'll have them over there. I think I'm going to end it there. You guys have been wonderful. Adam Grabowski, give it up for 12 South Recovery. All of you guys here. We'll have Josh come up here. Thank you, Josh.